Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the public, councillors, and a special thanks this evening. This is the first Public Services Committee of the new administration, so very warm welcome. We're very proud that you've all come. We've moved this evening especially to be in Meridian Hall. So I'd like to introduce my fellow councillors. My name is Rex Whittaker. I've been a town councillor for 12 years and I'm chair of this Public Services Committee. I'd like to introduce Councillor Stephanie Reeves to my left, who's vice chair of the committee, a new town councillor. To her left is Harry Quinnock, who's the assistant town clerk. To his left is Alice Fletcher, who's the town council communities services manager. On the far left is Councillor Lee Gibbs, who's a new town councillor. So welcome, Councillor Gibbs. To his left is Councillor Tracy Hughes, a new town councillor again, so very welcome, Tracy. To her left is Deputy Mayor, Councillor Steve Odie, new Deputy Mayor. You want to turn around? So, thank you. He's very photogenic, you might say. To his left is Councillor Steve Barnett, who's a very experienced town councillor. Welcome back to the town council, Councillor Barnett, after an absence of 12 years. So you're very welcome back. To his left, Councillor Scott. You want to turn around, Councillor Scott? So he's been a town councillor for a while. To his left, Councillor DeBell, who's he's in a privileged position because he's a town councillor here this evening, but he's also a New Sussex District Councillor and recently elected West Sussex County Councillor. So congratulations to you. Thank you for coming tonight. To his left is the town mayor, the new town mayor, Fraser Visser, who, if you haven't seen him, you'll be seeing a lot more of him. To his left is the new town council, the leader of the town council, Councillor Helen Farron. To her left, we were hoping this evening to have two members from Modality who are still in transit. So you'll have to bear with us. And I know you're here essentially not to see our councillors, but to see the Modality team. So I'm very confident they will be here, but they're not here quite yet. I hope they are. Special, Stephen, thank you. Special warm welcome this evening to our very hard-working Member of Parliament, Mims Davis. So thank you very much, Mims. We're very, very honoured to have your presence. And to my right is the town clerk, Julie Holden. So that's the team here this evening. We also have a very warm welcome to Inspector Dave Derrick from Sussex Police, who's the neighbourhood police inspector. And because they are very, very busy people, as you know, they are first on the agenda after public questions. We also have some visiting councillors this evening. Councillor Sharon Lord from Ashurst Hall, so you're welcome. This meeting is being recorded this evening on YouTube, so it will be available in the next, possibly tomorrow, certainly on Monday. So all of the proceedings will be recorded. Before we get into public questions, for which we have a period of 15 minutes, just want to give some context of this particular committee. It's the Public Services Committee. It's one of 4 committees of the Town Council. And we're really proud of this committee because whilst we don't have any statutory responsibility for most of the third-party stakeholders that we are reviewing, certainly this evening, the terms of reference are very important because we'd like to provide, as your locally elected councillors, you provide scrutiny to us, we provide scrutiny on to third-party stakeholders. So I just want to read the terms of reference of this committee, just to make it clear. These are in the Town Council standing orders, which are on the website. So it's page 17. So this Public Services Committee have the duty to making representations to the appropriate authority in respect of highways matters, which is essentially West Sussex County Council, making representations to appropriate authority in respect of public transport services, representations authority in respect of all healthcare service matters, hence modality this evening, representations to Sussex Police Authority and other appropriate police personnel, representations to the District Council, Mid Sussex District Council, regarding licensing and other planning related matters, the receiving of a report from the Community Liaison Officer, who's Alice Fletcher, who I've introduced earlier, and her report is in the papers, very extensive report, which will be an agenda item this evening, and all other matters except planning, which are the responsibility of third-party agencies and directly affect the town's basic infrastructure. So I know infrastructure is a buzzword, but a very important word. So this is a very good, I call it a scrutiny committee, although the word isn't used in these standing orders. But it's very important that we scrutinise all of the people around us. So that's the contextual background to it. If I could now start public question time, which is a period of 15 minutes. I'll just read out a statement before we start. Public participation. The public are welcome to attend the meeting in person by virtual link to observe a question of the committee on matters that are within this committee's remit, which essentially is what I've described in the standing orders. The question should not be a statement, nor in several parts, and it would be appreciated to be kept short to maximise the time so that we can get as many questions in as possible at the end of the 15-minute period. So if you ask a question, what we'd like to do is if you could raise your hand, and my vice chair will identify you. If you could stand up, come to the microphone and say, just wait a minute, thank you. Just wait, Stephen, that's fine. And then ask your question. Obviously the question will be recorded. It will be addressed to me as the chair, and I will then, I don't know obviously what you're going to ask, but chances are it'll be medically related, in which case I'm not a doctor and can't answer the question directly, but your question will be logged and will be passed on, and we will provide either an answer this evening or a written reply to that question. So 15 minutes, have I missed anything, Tom? Yep, so starting now, so 7:25. We'll start now. So, Claire, I think you wanted to come up. Sorry, could you come up to the microphone?
Claire Boughton-Tucker on behalf of Infrastructure First, item 3. In response to the large-scale planning application in Felbridge, 200 dwellings, and also bearing in mind the upcoming 515 Imberhorn in East Grinstead, NHS Sussex state they currently need £300,000 for improving practices. My question, will Modality be able to cope, and bearing in mind their current staffing vacancies and issues they have already? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. That's obviously a planning related, essentially a planning related question. So we have noted that in our planning committee. Modality aren't here to answer that, but I can say on behalf of the Town Council and this committee, we're very conscious of infrastructure contributions, financial payments through the planning system, including NHS and obviously their related agencies, so particularly GP. So it's very relevant. And I know you and I have had conversations about that in the past. So it's a very good question. It is noted and will be passed on to Modality and others. Thank you for your question. Stephen, did you want to ask?
Yes, Stephen Ashworth, 1 Brambleton, Escott Drive. My biggest complaint is basically over the last month, I have been attempting to go to access the Modality online patient access forum. I've successfully managed to actually having to re-request the third occasion in March or reorder my prescribed medication. The last month I've been attempting to actually get on the system and have been failing to do so over numerous occasions. and he also attempted to numerously call the local surgery. I finally managed to get through on the final occasion yesterday, and a lovely receptionist called Wendy finally took my details, my request over the phone. He was hopefully going to get it organised for tomorrow. She saw I could see I was actually registered on the system, but my concern is basically why am I actually not here? Are they bothered helping people attend?
Thank you. Got the message. Thank you. And I think your question and your frustrations, which are clear to see, can be shared by probably a lot of people in this room. The modality, when they arrive this evening, we'll be doing a detailed presentation on a PowerPoint presentation, and no, they will, that presentation will be issued in writing tomorrow. Available on the Town Council website, and I can tell you that a detailed part of that presentation is about a review of their current systems and procedures on a number of points, particularly about repeat prescriptions, particularly about appointments, and lots of other things. Okay, so good question. Understand your frustration. Thank you for making the point.
Thank you, Rex.
Would anybody else think?
So I've been a patient at Ship Street. Sorry, I'm Dean Dooley from Imberhorn. I've been a patient at Ship Street for all my life, 49 years, and again having the same frustrations as everyone else. One of my question really is modality. We've seen a whole new element of Ship Street surgery be rebuilt into what was going to be additional rooms for GPs to work out of. So they took away what was a very popular chemist that was sitting there, which is very accessible for a lot of residents in that area. People that are coming out of doctor surgery could get their medication straight away with having to go into the town or into other pharmacies. So that's been taken away to provide additional doctors' rooms. But yet we're being told that they cannot staff the rooms they have. So my question is, why did they build those rooms? What was the point of it if they can't do it? And what are they planning to do with it? And could that not have been used as a dispensary or a chemist, or to put the money towards incentives to get GPs in?
Okay,
that's my question.
All right, thank you. Another very good question. Welcome. Sure. Okay, before we get on to the next question, very warm welcome to Vincent Sy and Sharon Prudham from the Modality Partnership. Thank you. Okay, we're just doing public questions at the moment. So, okay, so would you like to come up to the microphone and just say who you are and ask your question? Thank you.
I'm a local resident. My name is Brian Hall. I wish to know how many doctors are on duty at Modality's premises in Judges Close each day to serve the patients. And I have two other questions from ladies over there, if I can follow on.
Yeah.
Can I follow on?
Yeah, just briefly, yeah. So to answer your first question, Modality will be doing a detailed presentation this evening. Okay, so a lot of the information they present to you will answer a number of questions or help answer a number of questions. And that document will be provided publicly tomorrow, okay, when you'll have a good chance to review it. Quickly, if you've got two other questions, if they are questions.
Yeah, the next question is, how many patients per day do the existing doctors speak to or deal or interview?
Similarly with the presentation, I think you'll find it's very detailed. So same.
I think that's
okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Would anybody else like to ask a question about? Yes.
Mary Welsh calling out. I'd like to know how Modality are morally justified in training their receptionists to turn away elderly, frail people at 8:30 in the morning and told to go away. It is absolutely dreadful.
can't comment on that. That's okay. Well, it is a question, so that's being recorded. Thank you. Anybody else like to ask a question? Not necessarily about medical, but anything to do with this committee's remit or anything else that's on the agenda this evening? No. Okay. Okay.
It's another modality question.
Okay.
But I was emailed by modality to go into a discussion with a pharmaceutical clinician about the medication that I have. The whole system was funded by a pharmaceutical company in Italy. When he said, we can do better with our medication, the medication that came from exactly that same pharmaceutical company. So to my mind, it was marketing ploy, and I think that the NHS shouldn't have anything to do with that type of
Okay, well
marketing.
that's your view. Okay, thank you for making your view. That's not a question, but okay. If nobody else has got any questions, then we'll then bring public questions to a close, and we'll start the meeting formally. Agenda item 1 of the meeting. Town Clerk, do we have any apologies for absence or substitutions, please? Okay, thank you very much. So can I have committee's approval to approve substitution? Councillor Gibbs, please. Are we in agreement? I propose. Second, all those in favour. Thank you, just a technicality. Thank you for substituting, Councillor Gibbs. Very, very appreciated. Okay, agenda item 2 is to receive the minutes of 2 meetings that we had. The first one was on the 2nd of March 2023, and the second one was on the 15th of May 2023, when it was at the mayor making meeting and this committee was formally appointed. Can we accept these as a true and accurate record for both sets of meetings? I propose. A second by Councillor Reeves. All those in favour? Thank you. I'll just another sign. Thank you. Agenda item 3 is chairman's updates. So if you could just bear with me, I've got, so this is a useful agenda item for giving general information updates, not just to the committee but to the council, and as we've got many members of the public. So just to bear with me, I'm just going to read statement out. This is essentially a report that the town clerk has put together in her liaison with lots of stakeholders. So this is to do with bus services. We are really pleased to hear that Metrobus have increased their services through East Grinstead, Mondays to Saturdays, from the 3rd of June. The biggest improvement will be that the 291 will be running hourly in each direction through the evening from Crawley. 3 bridges through East Grinstead and onto Forest Road and return. There will also be later journeys to and from Tunbridge Wells and Crawley, the last bus from Crawley being at 23:22 from 3 bridges at 23:27. There will be a much later journey from East Grinstead at 0019 to Felbridge, Crawley Down, Cockthorne, 3 bridges and Crawley. The new timetable can be found on the Metrobus website. There are also later journeys on the 270 from Brighton, Burgess Hill, Haywards Heath and Forest Road 2. This is something that this committee have pushed for on a consultation responses for years now, and it is very good to see the bus companies are able to respond. Excuse me, Stephen, you're not, no, Stephen, no, you're not allowed. I'm sorry, Stephen. No, can you just, no, Stephen, I'll take this offline after the meeting, but with respect, can you not interrupt the meeting? Thank you. Second update is to do with the Queen Victoria Hospital. The team at Queen Victoria Hospital are busy with recruitment and new faces. 3 new non-executive directors were appointed recently. These paid posts work with the officers in portfolio. They report to the board and governors. 3 executive recruitments are in progress. Interviews in the next fortnight for a chief people officer, chief finance officer, and new chief executive officer. The interim CEO, Tony Chambers, may well leave before the successful candidate takes up post, as he is currently being sought for other posts. Once the new CEO is in place, we look to have him or her attend this Public Services Committee meeting in due course, and we hope that that will be the next time here, which will be on the 7th of September this year. Last lengthy update is to do with the removal of the parks and graffiti removal contract that the council currently has with Mid Sussex District Council. The town clerk is still awaiting an official letter of notice from Mid Sussex District Council. To date, 4 requests have been made to the business unit manager. However, we are aware that a letter was sent on the 4th of May to all 3 town councils, that's Haywards Heath and Burgess Hill as well, because they have a similar contract, to advise that the graffiti and landscape contract and remove all offensive graffiti from Mid Sussex owned land in the town and surrounding villages. This contract is worth £7,500 per year to us, this town council, and was originally advised as giving 6 months notice to the end of September this year. This has now been reviewed in order to allow this to be budgeted for, because we didn't see this coming in our budget calculations. However, the contract will now cease on the 3rd of March next year, 31st of March 2024. The 3 towns group, so this town council is has a separate group meeting with the town councils of Haywards Heath and Burgess Hill, called the 3 towns group, which is a very effective parish town council parish lobby group to the district council. Wrote to ask that we please see the specification for the intended new contract, as we may wish to jointly bid for the work, because this town council has obviously the capability in resources to be able to successfully complete that contract. However, when it was provided, it was clearly for a bigger contract than we would be able to take on, having been amalgamated into all of the green space work that Mid Sussex currently contract out. While this is a matter for our Communities and Tourism Committee, which meet this time next week, regarding the contract and the loss of revenue, this is a matter for this committee, as it is a service that we will need to watch next April regarding attendance items to rid the town of unsightly graffiti on Mid Sussex owned land. So that's something that you probably don't see much graffiti because the town council chaps go out there and remove it as soon as it's reported. So we're just sort of flagging that up. Last update is the old police station, just over the road from us. We are advised that this will be going to the market, the open market for sale. Public and members will be aware that it's been empty since 2016. we have been approached by the agents to ask if we wish to revise the council's original offer to buy. So this council did put in an offer some while ago to potentially buy that property for community use. This will be ongoing to our Finance and General Purchases Committee for consideration, who look at all legal and financial matters. In 2 weeks' time, when the leader of the council, Helen Farren, will chair that meeting, and then on to full council. So it's just a flag that this town council will be reviewing and revisiting the work that they did 2 or 3 years ago. And finally, just a couple of very brief updates. It's pleasing to see that our fire station now operates from 7 AM till 7 PM, 7 days a week, manned by full-time firefighters, and at the weekend is fully covered by part-time on-call firefighters. Also, I want to report that with planning and other general matters, stakeholder matters, this town council is liaising with councillors from Tanbridge and Surrey County Council, cross-border in the Felbridge area. Recently had a meeting that was facilitated by a very supportive residents group that we have, Infrastructure First, and those meetings will become regular. And the first one was very productive, and reports of that will channel through to future reports. And finally, not such good news is to do with Lloyd's Pharmacies. Some of you may have seen the national press a couple of weeks ago that Lloyd's Pharmacies were putting some of their pharmacies up for sale. Again, as incumbent chair of this committee, I've recently had a meeting with the lead pharmacist in the East Grinstead primary care unit. So she is the lead pharmacist for all of our cluster pharmacies, and confirmed that all Lloyd's pharmacies are currently up for sale by the Lloyd's owners, and have been since January. But the good news is that most of East Grinstead Lloyd's pharmacies have got new owners or about to have new independent owners. However, the bad news is that the Lloyd's pharmacy in Sainsbury's store will close on the 13th of June. So it's not so good news. So again, this committee, we approached the pharmacies to get the sort of full story. We are watching very closely on that, because from the questions, and we know that some of the national press, the government's desire is that pharmacies take on more prescribing and further services to take the pressure off GPs. So both are intrinsically linked. Okay, so that's, sorry for the lengthy update, but I thought it would be important to get that information out. So agenda item 4 is to receive members' declarations of independent interest. Yes. Do I have any? Councillor Goodall. Okay, noted. Thank you very much. And district councillors here are myself, for this committee. So, and Councillor Goodall again, double hatted. So, yes. So we just declare. Don't think so, but just covering that base here. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to now switch the agenda. So we're going to Sussex Police now, because I'd like to welcome and introduce Inspector Dave Derrick, who's the neighbourhood policing team. He's on, should be on Zoom.
Good evening. Good evening. It's nice to see you all and to be part of the meeting.
Good evening, Inspector Derrick. Very warm welcome. I know you're time restricted, so it would be great if you could just please give us an update from your perspective, and thanks again for your time.
Yeah, you'll have to forgive me because I've only been in my post for 4 to 6 weeks, but I've already met with Julie, your clerk, and had a really successful meeting, as I've done for all the clerks for Mid Sussex. The updates that I've got for you is relatively good news, really, is that crime in Mid Sussex is probably the lowest in most districts in the force, if not the country. It's really good. The one thing that troubles me as your new inspector for the hub is there's lots of antisocial behaviour in all areas of Mid Sussex, and especially Scrinstead, and of course the reduction in service that we've given through the police station there and the opening times is causing us some trouble. But what I've done since I've been in post is I've increased the amount of PCSO patrol times for East Grinstead, and I've changed their working practices, so your town clerk will have better access to them. Well, all town clerks will have better access to them, and also when they report matters to PCSOs, they'll be directly reported to the police rather than having to go through other systems that are long and troublesome for all members of the community, including the clerk. So that is my very short update. We are going to increase patrols in East Grinstead. I want to make sure that the staff are accessible to you as much as they can be, and I will certainly, and I have been since I've been in post for my short 5 weeks, is ensure I've been available to Julie, the clerk, and I'm happy to answer any questions you've got for me.
I've just got a couple before I ask other councillors. Could you just explain, recently you've launched the new DISC reporting, crime reporting system for businesses and retail. If you could just briefly explain what that's about.
It was partly funded by the Police and Crime Commissioner, and I don't know a lot about it. What I do know about it is the launch has been very successful in several major towns in Mid Sussex. And what it's enabling us, the community and the businesses to do, is to report crime in a better way rather than sitting on telephone lines and waiting for the police to answer the phone and going to other systems. So it's really effective for businesses to ensure that when they do report crimes, we can react to them better. And also, if necessary, we can increase patrols in the areas they're reporting the crimes in. So all the reports that I've had on DISC so far have been that it's been successful.
Thank you. And I know that you've been working very closely with the Business Association and Retail Association. Final one is the status of Checkermead Police Contact Centre. I understand that it's open for 2 days a week now. Is that correct?
So that's the police office in East Grinstead, yes.
Thank you. Any questions for Inspector Derrick that you might have? No? Okay. Thank you very much, Inspector. Welcome to your new post. This town council has a long and proud history of working very closely with Sussex Police, channeled through our very able town clerk, Julie Holden. So we look forward to working with you continuously and your PCSOs and other officers. If I could now ask Councillor Reeves just to say something.
Just a brief thanks for your time this evening. I'm grateful. I'm conscious of very busy. I know that everyone here is very grateful for that. So brief thanks. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we now move on to agenda item 5. So we now move on to substantive really business this evening to do with modality. So just to give some context, very warm welcome to the Chief Executive of Modality, Vincent Sy, and GP partner Sharon. So from East Grinstead. This town council had been made aware really since around the Christmas period that there were some public concerns regarding GP surgeries generally, and not just in East Grinstead, but some of the cluster parishes as well, mainly Crawley Down. So the clerk, Julie Holden, invited Mr. Sy to participate this evening some months ago. So I'm very pleased you've taken the opportunity to come along. And there has been dialogue with Modality, with MP, MIMS, with the Horsham MP, Jeremy Quinn, and other NHS providers. But this evening, it's very good that you've come and asked, and all your questions are tabled and noted, not necessarily asking Modality for answers to those specific questions. They have a detailed presentation that they'd like to make this evening. And the objectives of this from this town council are positive. We hear the frustrations, and that's plain to see and hear this evening. But what we're looking to do is find solutions. And we're looking for an action plan and an improved customer service both ways. Improved communications, improved prescriptions, improved the whole service. Now, we know that can be done. It's just finding a way. Modality, a relatively new partner in the last few years, with a slightly different business model. And so we need to work together. This town council is resolved work with Modality and through the NHS to find solutions. So that's the contextual background. So Vincent, if you'd like to, I don't know if you need the microphone coming. Okay.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate the chance to speak and to share some context and adding more to the chair's opening remarks. And I want to also say thank you to the residents for being here. I should flag that Dr. Cook is sitting right there. She's here too, so I'm not just here by myself with Dr. Prudent. Dr. Cook is here too. So let me start by acknowledging the frustrations and the concerns that's been raised by residents. I want this evening to be an open conversation to share with you all the facts and the situation that we are in and what we're working on. Tonight is not about making excuses or and I really welcome the chairman's opening remarks about finding solutions together. So if I may ask the gentleman to change the slide, sorry. I did offer to do the slides because I didn't really want to be Professor Whitty saying next slide, please. So let me start by explaining Modality a little bit more, because I think residents and even council members are thinking, who are these mysterious people? Who are they? You know, are they private organizations taking over the NHS and things? So let us sort of set the record straight. And by the way, I didn't need to be here today in person. I came from Birmingham, but I wanted to, right? Because it's important to be here in person because I'm a very old school kind of person, right? And I think it's important. Now, when I first met my partners in Mid Sussex, they were ready to throw in the towel. It was just too hard. Okay, they love their patients, they love the community, they are part of the community too, but the pressure points is quite unbearable in terms of demand and expectations. The world has become really complicated, and you don't need me to say this because you can read the press. It's well documented. The NHS is under significant pressure, and general practice is no different, right? In fact, we are at the last point, we're the lowest point of the whole NHS. Now, so Modality was founded in 2009 with the belief that if we work together and shared, right, we could maybe work at scale and be more resilient, and maybe we'll enjoy the work a bit more now, right, in the future. So that's the idea. And so we're not a sort of faceless private enterprise. We're owned by 130 like-minded partners who believe in this cause. We want to preserve the best parts of general practice of primary care in the NHS. I shared this with the PPG group. I've met them a couple of times, got Glenn here and got others here as well. I use this little picture here, and I don't mean to be coy here, but this is the picture of an Amazon rainforest. It's very complicated. There are lots of people preserving or trying to preserve the best parts of the Amazon, but there's also things that happens that unintentionally causes significant damage to it. So I just wanted to show that picture because we would like you guys to remember that we're actually here to be on the green side of the picture. We're not here to destroy general practice. We have actually invested. If we didn't care, why would we have invested to upgrade the facilities? I hope some of you would have noticed the changes in Judges and Ship Street. If we weren't here thinking about the long term for the community, we wouldn't have bothered doing that in the context of Brexit, the highest cost of living situation. This is the hardest time to do any construction work, right? And I'm sure many of you guys can relate to it. So it's really important that you know we are the NHS, traditional NHS practice, but we are quite large. But the reason we're large is because we needed to come together to share resources to be more sustainable longer term. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, a lot of you may not realize how the NHS commissioning contracting works, and I'm probably oversimplifying this, but essentially what happens is that the NHS Sussex are the commissioners of care services, I should say healthcare services in the community, and Modality. Now that you know who we are a partnership. We hold the contract. Right? We are the contract holders commissioned by the Sussex commissioners. And then Mid Sussex is one part of our family. We have 9 different regions of partners, just like Dr. Coate and Dr. Pruden here, who are our family, our work family, doing their work locally. Okay, so that's why you can see sort of the brown picture there. And we wanted to put real names on that because I think people think, who are these people? Where are they? There's no doctors around. I remind you guys, these are the very partners that have served the community for decades. So no one has changed their spots overnight and became somebody else. They're still the kind-hearted people who chose to serve the community to be GPs for their whole career. They were giving up, but we kept them going, and that's what we have. And now we have 4 sites in the Mid Sussex division, we call it. And 3 of them sits in East Grinstead and 1 in Burgess Hill, which is called Parkview. So that's how it's constructed, right? So I think I would be remiss not to mention the funding model. I think there's a lot of talk about money and different things. We are funded roughly about £160 per patient per year. Okay. So I believe there's a lot of activity on Facebook and social media, which I want to address to some degree as well. But I think you guys, some of the residents know this, a private GP charges, I think this is a local stat, £79 for a 15-minute consultation or £200 per hour. Please do not confuse that model to what we are trying to do. We can choose to do that, by the way, but we have not. We've chosen to do it the NHS way because that's the way we know how. Okay, so so that's important to flag. Again, not here to make excuses, but I do get very perplexed when residents or others are accusing us of being money grabbers or trying to make a lot of money. There's no money here to be made here, right? So but we do need to make sure we're doing a good job by providing better communication, better access. So next slide, please. Now, a lot of you will say, hang on, Vincent, you just mentioned you're from you just came from Birmingham. You're not from here. You're not one of us, right? But again, I want to reiterate, the whole practice is run and led by my partners here who are local GPs. I don't have time to call in from somewhere and say, do this way. We wanted GPs to feel empowered. We wanted them to continue to run the services the way they believe is right for the population. What we do provide is really boring back office support, things that does not affect or should not affect care delivery, finances, tax returns, IT, HR, governance. So these are headaches that a lot of GP partners find it difficult when they work in their own little silo practices. But when we work at scale, we can share the resources. If there's a new policy coming out, we read it once and we disperse the knowledge. We don't need 150 GPs reading the same thing. So we try to be efficient in that sense. And again, talking about money, right, let's be upfront. The cost of the contract, of £160, 3% goes towards the back office function. So it's not, it's not like some big commercial outfit with 15%, 20%. There's nothing in it from our perspective. Next slide, please. I think there's been questions about, hang on, when we searched, you guys search modality on companies' houses, there's a myriad of companies, Are you set up in the Cayman Islands? You set up this, you set up there. And I'm afraid that I'm going to disappoint everybody. We're not that exciting, okay? We are boring general practice. And you guys may not know this, but general practice, the green box, is a general partnership. What that means in companies, house, or business terms is we are personally liable, unlimited liability structures. Okay, that's also one of the biggest worries of GPs. Younger GPs don't want that headache to become a GP partner to then take unlimited liability in the business model, right? It's actually quite scary. Okay, so what we've done over the years in the other parts of our family, there are other services they provide. It will be irresponsible for us to put more risk to our green box because it's unlimited liability. It adds more worries to the GP partners. So we created, you can see here, non-primary care related services. Does not affect local services. Other services that are in limited companies to protect the liability of the partners of the green box, right? So what we're here talking about today is the green box, and the rest are things related. They are not related to core delivery, does not affect, does not drain resources, but it limits the liability exposure of partners. We have estates, we invested to build, to upgrade the buildings. Those are, whenever we have a chance, we will limit our liability. These are common standard practice all around. We're not doing anything above and beyond or trying to be creative. And from time to time, there are opportunities that come up, and we have created different entities, but they're all, if you look into it, they're dormant. That means it's there, we kept the name in case something comes up. That's all we did with it. So I think it's really important that I'm clear with everyone, because we have nothing to hide, that how the structure works. But you can see everything we did is to future-proof general practice. When GP partners are worried about risk liability, we de-risk them. When they're worried about workload that they can't handle, we centralize them. Everything is to keep them happier so they stay. Otherwise, there'll be no practices, right? Not the three anyway, I know, would not exist today if we didn't do what we do. Next slide, please. The reality check, the NHS, general practice remains the bedrock of the NHS. We see 85% of all interactions before it enters the NHS. We have seen a lot of demand. I know COVID is a little bit of a past, but it's not over, not an excuse. We have seen an explosion of demand as a result. Things have changed. We all know that, right? It's affected all of us in different ways. We have workforce shortages. Of course, we can do better to improve and to make sort of the workplace better. But there are challenges of burnout and abuse. I think some of our staff members are fearful of coming to work because they get screamed at. Okay, I know people are poorly, they are unhappy, but it's quite threatening sometimes. Okay, I think we have instances where residents have come into the practice and made a massive issue with asking the receptionist about how the company is structured. It's got nothing to do with care. We've got patients waiting in line, but they were demanding answers of our receptionist. How's that okay? They're in tears. Why should the receptionist understand the legal structure of the partnership? So we just ask for some patience and reasonableness on how patients perhaps prevent their anger. And anyway, so you get the gist. And by the way, just so you know, we are facing real inflation-adjusted decreases in funding. The £160 in the last 2 years the NHS has funded general practice 2.1%. We do know inflation is far higher, right? But I want you guys to know we have not gotten more than 2.1% per year, but we have increased pay far more than that to make sure we keep our staff, because it's not right. Why do you think we're losing people? Not because we're some big corporate monster. It's because we're keeping pace, because the work is hard. Because do you want to come to work every morning and get screamed at? You know, I just want to give that flavor. Now, it's again, no excuses. We want to look forward though, right? We believe there's opportunity for us to do more of these, to explain to residents that we're actually on the same side. We're not the enemy. We want to reduce the reliance on GPs. It's not enough of them. That's the bottom line, right? There's no magically thinking you'll grow. So we need a multidisciplinary team, primary care team. We want to work at scale. Okay, and a lot of patients only see appointments as the workload, right? You only see what's above, right? The iceberg, but there's a lot of administration underneath. Okay, so you guys don't see the evenings checking blood results. You don't see that. You just say, where's my appointment? That's all you're looking for. That's all you see. Do you know what I mean, guys? When you work hard, but the public only sees the top part and not the groundwork, the wiring, the plumbing, all those things needs to hang together. But that's what we do a lot that we don't shout about. You know, we're just not perhaps smart enough to tell people about everything we do. Next slide, please. I want to again acknowledge the concerns that has been raised. I think we need to do a much better job communicating. We do track complaints, informal and formal complaints. So, and again, sharing openly the numbers we have, with a population of 32,000, the numbers are not high in that context. However, it doesn't mean that it is okay. Does that make sense? So our systems did not pick up that there was any major issues. So we need to be better communicating across the different agencies, and we had a great meeting with Mims and Jeremy about how case workload has increased significantly in their office, and we also apologize because we didn't know that was happening. But there was rules about who can share what, but we want to communicate better across departments or areas so we can pick up. Now the petition, I do want to address that directly as well. I know there's a lot of residents who are unhappy and they signed up for the petition. By the way, I'm here, right? I'm game to engage, but I felt that there were some issues in which the petitioner organization, again, I didn't feel threatened by it, but I just didn't feel it was quite the right tone because there were certain things that are misleading in the way communications are made. But again, having said that, we have studied every comment, and these were the main issues that we are again wanting to address. I'll keep moving along. I'm conscious of the time. I hope this is helpful. So for our next slide, please. One of the major issues is access, right? Everyone has the fear of missing out. That's why there's this mad rush in the morning, right? By the way, we're not that fun. It's not like going to a concert, right? Everyone's trying to get in to get the appointment. We just don't have enough of it. We do not have enough appointments. But we are trying to improve our phone systems and the different capabilities to help improve it over time. Next slide, please. Appointments, right? So again, I know it's not satisfying to say there's not enough appointments, but I want you guys to know that the left side of the screen shows the appointments before sort of the full merger of modality, Mid-Sussex, and then what we've been able to do beyond from sort of September 21. Now there's a little dotted line that cuts across. That's the expected level of appointments that a general practice should provide. Okay, there's an unwritten rule. It's not even in the contract, just so you know, right? If we play to the contract, there's none, right? But that's not how we roll. We want to do the right thing. So can you guys see from our lens, we are actually, we wanted to improve, and we have provided more across, but it's still not enough. And we know that, and we want to do more. One of the things we've uncovered is 8% of our patients take up 40% of these appointments. That's a problem, right? So we need to do something different there, because we are failing to help them, or they are failing the system by taking up more appointments than they should. Because yeah, there's a limited quota. If someone took up 40%, there's going to be less for others. So we are trying to be more data informed to make sure we can be smarter, to be more equitable in the distribution of the appointments. Next slide, please. Thank you. Again, boring boxes, but these are the work underneath, not just appointments, the referrals, call handling, prescriptions, investigations. This is all part of the primary care team's work, right? It's things you don't see. Next slide, please. A couple more quick thoughts, right? I think there was a question asked about the number of contacts the doctor has per day. So the first chart here is a reflection of the increased complexity. People don't come nowadays just to see, oh, something wrong with my shoulder, it hurts. They don't. They come and say, my life is in tatters. My marriage is failing. I'm really unwell. There are a lot of other emotional, mental health issues that you can't just say, sorry, you have 5 minutes, right? Squeeze it all in, goodbye, next. We can't. So we have seen more time needed per appointment. And you can see the perfect storm. We have less doctors around, okay? People actually need more time. And we are not trying to give people less time. We're trying to create the headspace to help people more. But we also need to protect the team. There's no service if the doctors are not around, if they're burnt out. So right now, if you follow the BMA or LMC guidance on what's safe, that little line in the middle is the number of contacts the doctor should have per day to be safe. We are working above that, but I want to assure everyone we've taken steps to make sure we remain safe. We never compromise on safety. But then if we don't compromise, because we're not compromising on safety, that means we have less appointments at the same time. So it's quite hard to maintain. The other thing is we used to enjoy more stability with staff availability. But remember our colleagues are also residents in the community. They're humans too. They also get COVID. They also become unwell. So when that happens, healthcare or primary care is a team sport. If you don't have 11 aside showing every day, if you play short-handed, you're gonna have a rough time. So I think we have a bit of a yo-yo thing. You can see at COVID time, we had almost 50% of our staff out because of COVID, but we never closed. We had our doctors on the call continuing on. So again, just be mindful that we're not just sitting around, not working hard, and all trying to deny care. We have challenges that we're trying to balance here. Next slide, please. A lot of questions have been asked about, how many people do you have? How many doctors? You're hiding them. I don't have them growing on trees, guys. I wish. But we are technically 2 GPs short, okay, despite all the challenges. But we have been able to mobilize some of our GPs from other parts of our family to help with remote. So that's what we're doing within sort of the modality family consulting. They're from Hull, and we are trying to get some other GPs in Lewisham. But it's still not the same as having the doctors here. But at least we have more doctors that we're recruiting. Very fortunate to have retained a GP trainee who's starting in August. Brilliant, right? That's a good start. But we continue to use locums. I think there's a lot of comments on Facebook, right, or social media in general. Oh, you've removed push doctor just to save money and stuff. No, because remote doesn't fully work, right? People want it face-to-face. So we decided to spend the money on locums instead, which is far more expensive than push doctor, just so you guys know. We are going to try international resources as well. And again, it's culturally something that is new. So I hope residents would accept different people, right? We need other resources elsewhere, right? If we can't recruit locally. And our call handling is not great, right? because of all the abuse, it's not the best place to work, right? Because you're like, people actually say, can I please work at the back of the office? I don't want to answer phones because they're fearful of being screamed at, okay? And we also have competition, right? People in Asda or Tesco, they rather go stack shelves than to be dealing with people shouting at them. Okay, so we have these kind of challenges, and I don't think it's just us, but I acknowledge we need to do better. Next slide, please. So here's what we're doing, right? We're taking different steps to, again, like I said, we're really progressing on them. We're trying to put the GPs in place. We're taking the long road, okay? We're not going to be overreactive to pressure points now. We need to plan correctly, and we're not going to make wrong decisions in haste. So we want to get the right GPs in. We're introducing a family and friends referral program for our teams to hopefully create sort of more momentum. And I really need everyone's help to support our efforts to stop the trolling on social media and the personal attacks. I believe I'm really popular in East Grinstead or where, because I think my emails and my name's floated around in every social media channel you can think of. But you know what? I'm broad shoulders and I have nothing to hide, so bring it on. Email to me and I'll respond back. I work day and night and I'll get back to anyone that writes to me. But we need to do more well-being for the staff. So we've got well-being Wednesdays, on a hot day, we'll bring the ice cream van in. We're just humans, okay? So I think it's important we do that. Voice Connect, some residents may know this. One of the pressure points on phone calls is people needing prescriptions. Voice Connect is new technology, but it's just a phone. You call, you can order your prescription, and we try to fulfill that rather than waiting to see a doctor. So we're trying to put different things in place. We're trying to do group consults, I think at the end of the month. We have a group consultation, which again is efficient because it's meant, so rather than appointment per person, we have one broader group consultation. So that would be good too. We actually started that before COVID, but we stopped because of COVID, right? And now we're reintroducing it. We're trying to bring coaches in. Wouldn't it be nice if you have your own personal trainer to help you sort of improve your lifestyles a bit more? So I think there are residents who need that extra help, who are taking a lot of the GP appointments when maybe they don't need that. They need someone to guide them on other things. They do not need to be the GPs to do that. So we're trying to do that. And last but not least, again, there's so much we can improve on and we want to, right? Please give us a chance, but we want to educate everyone a little bit better. So we actually toyed with an idea about a big town hall meeting and tell the world about our story. Let's fix everything overnight, but that's not going to work. So we are going to introduce a series of smaller sessions for patients to come in and give feedback. We can call it special interest group or something that makes sense about their health so that they can be part of we want to be part of the community doing different things like that. In other parts of modality, we have taken over Park Run just to do health checks and different things. But I know we need to take baby steps. If I came here tonight and say, hey, I got a whole campaign about Park Run and all this thing, I think everyone's like, boo, right? So we need to earn the trust. Give us a chance to get our basics back in place, right? And by the way, I should be careful when I say that. I hope you can tell we're not delivering to the contract. We are actually working up, but I think we need to work a bit smarter. We need to communicate better. And hopefully with the trust of the population, we can then do more lifestyles and health checks and other engagement community, because I think that's what we're about. We want to be part of the community. And next slide, I think this should be the last slide. I'm sure you guys have been very patient with me. Yeah, so please remember, no excuses from us. What you see is what you get. I'm sorry we have caused so much concern to the residents. We are not people who don't care. We are fighting our own rainforest battle. Please help us. Give us a chance to fight that, because we don't have to do this. If the residents don't back us, we will go, and it's no problem. Okay, and I just heard you guys talk about Lloyd's closing and stuff, right? We're trying to keep the pharmacy in Judges. Okay, so we are doing our part because we believe it's the right thing to do, but it's not it has not been easy for us. And again, I'm sorry that it's been hard for the residents as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent. I'm going to bring councillors in to ask questions. I've just got one question. Can you just reassure everybody in the room, Vincent, that the 14-day referral rule, where effectively somebody comes in with a lump and a bump and think they've got something serious, then if your system for that, you are complying with the 14-day rule to get that referred to consultation. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's given highest priority within practice. Anybody that needs an urgent query cancer referral is acted on the same day.
Thank you.
We also have a safety net in place as well to make sure that they actually receive their appointment. And a member of my admin team regularly searches and contacts those who haven't had letters back from the hospital about.
Thank you very much. Okay, councillors, I think Councillor Goodall. You just speak up for the benefit of.
First of all, I think you're very brave to come here tonight because, and thank you very much for doing so. It's very important, as you say, that we work together. And if we're going to get anywhere, we certainly don't want you disappearing from the town. We want to work with you. I'm sure that's true of everybody in this room today. We want to see, the biggest problem we have is that things are not the same. They are not the same in so many ways, in so many different circumstances throughout the country. And it's the change that has caused so much problem. So many worries because people do not understand why things have to change. There are so many different ways that things have changed. You used to have a police force that was based here in East Grinstead, for instance, and we had a police station for it, and the streets were patrolled every day. But with doctors throughout the country, there has been a sea change in the way the practices operate. We used to be able to go and see a doctor that very day and sit and talk to him, and they knew each one of us individually. But that has changed. That is not all your fault, and we do want to work together. But there is one question I've got here for you. This is the crux of the question, and it is for you particularly. The Sussex Integrated Care Board has set in its shared delivery plan with respect to improving GP access over the next year. That's not just us, that's the country. This shared delivery plan was discussed at the recent Health and Wellbeing Board of West Sussex, on which a friend of mine sits as a cabinet member. The question is this: given the targets set by the NHS within the Integrated Care Board, draft shared delivery plan recently discussed at the NHS West Sussex County Council Health and Wellbeing Board, how confident are you, Vincent, now as a partnership that you will be able to meet these ambitious targets set by the NHS, i.e. it will be easier for patients to contact practices, patient satisfaction scores will improve by 5%, patients will be able to access more appointments, there will be a 2% increase in appointments from the previous year, and patients will be able to access an appointment within 2 weeks if they need it, and that this will increase by 3.1%, bless you, throughout 23-24, totaling 85% of patients receiving an appointment within 2 weeks if they need it by the end. How confident are you in that? I mean, that is very important. As I say, things have changed.
I think we've got
We all need to understand that, but how confident?
Thank you.
I definitely need the mic. I'm a lot more soft-spoken than the councillor. Thank you, councillor, for your thoughtful remarks, and thank you. You know, we don't get to set the targets, but I strongly believe that we're heading in the right direction. If you look at the plans we talked about, if we engage patients more, if we basically recruit and retain the doctors, we make the place a happier place, a safer place. We will get there. None of our family members here work on their own. We're sharing best practice, different techniques, different solutions from all around the country. And so, you know, we're going to keep working our socks off to get there. I can't guarantee 100% we'll hit every target, but we're going to do everything we can to try. So I think the other thing you should know, you made this a very small font earlier, so you probably didn't see it. We currently already provide 85% of appointments requests within 2 weeks. But again, it's not very pleasing for residents who were on the phone, who didn't get the appointment, to think that. But remember, there's a more fundamental issue. We are already providing above contracted amounts, but the demands we still can't meet the demand. So there's a question around, you know, how are we positioned to meet the needs of the population versus their wants? We still have people coming in who's, you know, because they got a cold, they've taken out an appointment because of a cold. So we need to work more with patients to educate them on how to best use our services. Our communication can be much better. We made those changes, and you can call us silly buggers. We should have communicated much more and better than to just make changes, because, you know, we're so busy, we just made a change. And so I think that's our biggest learning. We're not bad people, but we need to communicate better so people understand where we're coming from. So
Thank you. I'm mindful other councillors might want to ask a question. Vims, you can either come in now or give you sum up at the end. It's up to you. Yeah, I think so. So, Councillor Reeves.
Thank you. Mindful of time, forgive me for a slightly shorter question, perhaps. I'm grateful for the presentation. It was very detailed, but if I'm really honest, you've identified lots of problems that the NHS is facing. There are broader issues around recruitment and COVID and requirements on appointments. I think the challenge we're all feeling is we have other primary care providers in East Grinstead who I think people feel are doing a better job. So I'd really like to identify, if we can, what the challenge is with modality in East Grinstead and what you're specifically doing to address the challenges that we are feeling and facing, accessing appointments, making calls online, being able to speak to people, because I feel you've been very general today, and I'm not sure we've really got an answer to the challenges that are specific to modality.
No, thank you for that shorter question. No problems. I think as I mentioned, we need to communicate that on the different initiatives we're working on. We launched Voice Connect, which is the prescription solution, but we didn't communicate it well enough. It's not being taken. So I think that's an issue. We have not been proactive enough with our recruiting. So we need to pull our socks up on that. And I think, fortunately, we've already got some success with that. We don't need 20 GPs, guys. We're aiming for 2, but if 3 shows up, we're gonna over recruit. Okay. So we need to do better on that as well. In that sense. Now, our phone numbers, our phone system. By the way, if you look at the NHS requirements, it's moving to cloud telephony. We've had it in the last 2 years. We've already done it. But then there are, by the way, we don't run the telephony company, right? We are still at the mercy of the provider providing pieces. We tried the callback system, but it's not working as well as it should. So residents don't have the confidence to say, yeah, okay, I'll just, say call back. And expecting the call back within 10 minutes. We don't have the luxury of doing that. Sorry, am I breaking your mic today? So is that okay? So I think the only thing, Councillor, I would flag is a lot of practices are potentially one tribunal away from bankruptcy. I also think that a lot of practices are probably 1 or 2 GPs departure away from hitting major issues. We are trying to future-proof ourselves, working at the 32,000 population. And so the changes we're making, we have a prescribing team trying to do the prescribing, getting that machinery going to get the throughput. There's a lot of things like that the small practices are not doing or investing in, and we are. So I hope right? There's no guarantee in life, but I hope all the investments and work we're doing will pay off long term. There are many practices that I get calls almost every week wanting to give up and asking us to basically merge. So we're not immune to the pressures. We're in a bit of a rut, but I think some of them are own goals that we have struck because we didn't communicate as well. So we are going to hit it head on and get the support from the residents. But the bottom line is we need more GPs and the team. So
I just wanted to address the issue of GPs, because obviously there is a national shortage and there's a finite pool that we can recruit from. So what we have done, and this has been very much driven by NHS England, is to recruit what we call additional roles like pharmacists or pharmacy technicians, paramedic practitioners. They're all qualified in their own field and supervised by GPs. But I think we perhaps need to do a piece of work with our public in accepting those roles and trying to explain that actually the general practice model and traditional, again, the appointment at home to see your GP, that has got to change a little bit, because we're not going to get those GPs. They're not going to, it takes a long time to train a GP. And so we need to do a little bit more of public engagement, explaining and sort of introducing those roles so that they are more accepted by our public.
Thank you very much. Councillors, I'm mindful we are blessed to have our MP, Ms Davis, here this evening, and I'd like to give her the opportunity to really bring this session to a close for the final intervention. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Sharon and Vincent from Modality for joining us this evening, and it's recess, so I'm able to be here, Chairman, and thank you for the invitation. I think Councillor Reeves hit the nail on the head of what a lot of people are feeling in the audience, and both there and in my inbox, and I do thank Dr. Sharon and Vincent for the work they've done in terms of trying to answer some of these questions. And I think one of the issues has been the communication and the feeling that Modality is not delivering, and that was something that was really clear that we had to have a very frank conversation about. And the 8% of people who are blocking up the phone lines and the circling around that people are experiencing. And I've probably got about 30 significant live pieces of casework going on at the moment. But my other concern has been that many people have copied me in, they haven't given me firm consent to act, and many people haven't wanted to go through the complaints process because they felt it was worth it, or they've been worried about blacklisting and being cast out. And it's something that we've been very honest about. So I think the plan you have in place, and just to add to Councillor de Bell's point, NHS Sussex have asked all surgeries and groups to come forward with a plan that's deliverable, including some of the things that Dr. Sharon has spoken about, how to take the pressure away. But for me, the lack of connection, being able to be reached, it was something that even as an MP's office, there was a lack. And I do thank the team from Modality for accepting that. And I know I spoke to Dr. Sharon some time ago, and this isn't a new issue in terms of GPs wanting support and thinking about leaving. So I know we're all very concerned and very worried, but what we can't do is get into that situation. And Jeremy Quinn and I will be working with NHS Sussex. I've got detailed engagement with them and the team at Modality to ultimately make sure that if you ring up, that you're triaged, that you're supported, that the community feels confident. And that's what we need to be doing, working together, being honest about where it's gone wrong. And I think, Vincent, you've covered some of that. And I think these groups where you're going to be listening directly to people is vital. And I thank you for coming this evening, and we will continue to work together to make sure that practice here remains strong, that we get that service, but above all, connection, community, brand management will be key. Thank you.
Thank you, Minz. Okay, I'm going to bring this session to a close. If I could ask Councillor Reeves.
just to once again say thank you for your time this evening. I'm grateful for Ed for travelling again, and of course for the very detailed presentation you gave. Many thanks, Vincent and Dr. Sharon.
Thank you. We do have 3 or 4 agenda items still to do, so I know your time is very pressing. So we love you to stay, but we know you've got busier things to do and lab tests to sort out and all that sort of stuff. So thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Members of the public, if you have a good evening, you're welcome to stay. It should be about another 20 minutes, but we do have some business still to conclude. If I could ask you to go out the main doors, please. If you go, sir, excuse me. Yeah, just straight away through and have a discussion outside. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Excuse me. Thank you. Yep. All of the presentation slides will be publicly available on the Town Council website in a few days and will be issued. But it's a very detailed document, as you've seen. Nothing has been hidden. So thank you for your attendance. Okay, moving on, councillors. Thank you. So agenda item 7 is community services update. So I could pass over to our officer, Alice Fletcher. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Would you like me to run through my report or just see if anyone's got any questions?
No, it's a fantastically detailed report. Amazing work that you get through in your team. Would you just like to pick out any highlights, and then particularly forthcoming dates and events, and then councillors, if you've got any questions, then please direct them straight to. You can indicate to Councillor Reeves first.
Thank you, Chairman. As you can see from my report, it's been a busy few months for the community and tourism team, and for the new councillors, I've detailed what we've been up to. Briefly to run through, we've had the coronation events recently, which I think many of you did attend, and upcoming we've got Eastcourt Live on this Sunday. What I have got noted in the report for the councillors to make a recommendation on is about purchasing of a new SID, a speed indicator device, with a solar panel, which will come out of the S106 funds and the budget allocation. If anyone has any questions or wants to make a recommendation on that, I'll pass back to the chairman.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to pick up, if you could just comment, the East Grinstead Youth Club, which is a pertinent point in your report, just to highlight that for members of the public who might not have seen that in the report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There is an East Grinstead Youth Club at King Centre on Friday afternoons, which is run by trained youth workers from Sussex Clubs for Young People. It started last summer and it's been ongoing. It's fully attended with about 25 young people coming every week and is currently funded until the end of this year. And it is helping with some of the antisocial behaviour that was mentioned by Inspector Derek earlier, and the increased patrols will cover around the King Centre as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Barnett, you have a question?
Yes, is the proposed new SID going to be one of the ones that are capable of recording registration numbers, or can that be considered? I don't want sort of thousands of residents being booked, but people driving along at 60, 70 miles an hour, it's no joke, is it? They need to knock on the door or a letter with a letterbox or something.
The current SID that we have can record the speeds of vehicles going in both directions on the road that it is placed.
The identity of the vehicle.
I haven't looked at SIDs that can do that. It might be a possibility that we can look at that option.
Councillor Barnett, we're very lucky this evening. We have Mr. Leo Byrne, who runs the East Grinstead Speed and surrounding villages Speedwatch. He's an expert in Speedwatch and devices. I took the opportunity to prime him before the meeting. I would like to propose, as per the recommendation, that this council recommends to the FNGP committee that the feasibility of purchasing another SID with a maximum specification for the minimum optimum cost. Mr. Byrne has previous procurement experience, and I think collaboration with him would be, as we often do in these matters, and with your colleague Frank as well. So that would be the proposal that is referred. Could I have a second for that?
I will second that.
Second, Councillor Reeves. Does anybody have any comments or questions on that proposal? No? Can I put that to the vote then, please, councillors? All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you. If there are no other questions for Ms. Fletcher, thank you very much for a very detailed report. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 8, active travel and bike week. So I'd like to come on to Deputy Mayor, Councillor Odie, please, if you'd like to speak on this. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. The item really is to introduce Bike Week and to consider whether this should be an annual event organised, publicised and promoted by the council. And part of that initiative really is to do with the LC whip that's been put in place and was adopted in March by Mid Sussex for all 3 key towns, of which East Grinstead has its own separate LC whip. The LC whip is a local cycling and walking infrastructure plan. I really firmly believe that active travel should be promoted through the council. I think it's a very important element of the LC whip. It improves physical and mental health and promotes healthier lifestyles. And I know that the clerk has put together a pretty decent report actually on this and where we can all get more information. There is a government department called Active Travel England where funding comes from. And part of that really initiative would be to take advantage of the East Grinstead as a town and our sort of forward thinking with regards to active travel. So we've always been very positive in terms of sustainability and enabling more of our community to cycle and walk and wheel, which has been, you know, very widely received very positively by pretty much the whole community. Bike Week is one element of that. So the 8th to the 11th of June this year, and it's a workplace cycling, so it's for businesses. And part of the move really would be to incorporate that within the council calendar. I don't think it would take an awful lot of work. I'm very happy to take on the work.
I have to have another job now.
Responsibility for that, but it's something I'm very passionate about, and so I do believe in it. I really think it's very important. So in terms of what the objectives really are, and also what's going to be sort of involved, the way that I looked at it was really from a town council perspective. It's about promotion using the East Grinstead Business Association. This is particularly for Bike Week, and reward business participants and make it a big event really for that week, so that actually we could incorporate things like presentations to businesses who really take on board this philosophy, and have tea with the mayor and photo opportunities and things, and make it a really big thing. On top of that, there's also events like Cycle to School Week as well, which is in October, again, which is would be very widely positively received by the community, having spoken to a number of schools in the town. So that's the kind of thing and the direction I think we can go in.
Thank you. So is it your desire that this council seeks to make this a regular event? You've volunteered.
Yes,
to
it is. Absolutely, 100%.
I'm very mindful of the officer's time already, as we've seen from.
Well, I have a very good relationship with Harry, and he and I are both on the same page, and also Alice as well.
Well,
so.
I'm mindful to back that. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second. Any other councillors got any comments on that? Because you know, you're very passionate about this whole subject, active travel, we know. I think it's a great initiative. Town Mayor.
Thank you. I fully support this. I think I'll just shout. I fully support it. I think what Councillor or Deputy Mayor has done in promoting cycling in the town in his time as council has been fantastic. In this upcoming event of critical mass cycling, I think that any support that we can give to this should be wholeheartedly given. So I fully support it.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, so we'll go to the vote. All those in favour of promoting that and having a regular event, please show. That's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Second point of Councillor Odie, could you just briefly explain the bike rental scheme and your views on that? It's very detailed in the officer's report.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Town Clerk. And just briefly explain it.
So there's an opportunity for us to trial a bike hire scheme within the town, starting off reasonably small, sort of 6 or 7 bikes at a time, with a location in town that's to be determined. But the idea really is that it's worked very well in Forest Row. It's worked very well in other towns within the county. And it fits in beautifully with the Town Council's sustainability objectives. I think it's a great idea. There is a cost involved, which you'll be able to see in the report. Harry's done a great job in sourcing it and coming up with a recommendation on that. In terms of costs, the trial period would amount to £55 a month per bike, with a total of 6 bikes, so just under £4,000 a year. It's important to note that any revenue generated from the service would offset this cost, obviously. There's no specific budget for this initiative, but there has been some earmarked environment and sustainability reserve funds which could be used. But on the other thing as well is in terms of how it works in terms of pricing, it's to hire a bike, it's £3 per hour. You can also hire it per month, have a monthly rental at £15, which you can rent a bike for an hour every day, or you can have an annual rental fee of £70, where you get 2 hours every day for that fee.
Thank you. I think eventually that will probably go cost neutral. So I think in terms of a business case, it's personally think it's well worth a go. Does any councillor have any particular comments on this? I'd like to make a recommendation and go to the vote if they don't. So in your papers, you'll see an officer recommendation. This committee are asked to consider whether further exploration into the hire bikes should be made and or recommended to finance and general purposes that a trial be instigated. Bearing in mind F&G clearly within a couple of weeks, and the leader is here. So I'd like to propose that. Can I have a second?
I will second that.
Councillor Reeves, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we go to the vote? All those in favour? Sorry, Councillor Barnes.
Can I just ask, I mean, we're talking about at the end of Forest Trail or against,
yes,
or at the, whereabouts exactly?
The location, John, is to be determined yet, but App Bikes are the company that are running the scheme. Brilliant. They're going to come into town at some point, which is yet to be decided, and then we'll all go round. Well, say Harry and I with them will go around the town, and they'll highlight from their experience with all other towns where they believe the best opportunities would be for it to be based. Right. And yes, the idea would be that people could hire bikes. They could go down the Worth Way. They could, poodle about town if they wanted to go down to Forest Way, and eventually there could be multiple.
Thank you, Councillor Barnett. You have a question?
Yeah, we've got a rough estimate here of £4,000 a year. That's for does that include the infrastructure, or would it be significant infrastructure to actually?
That does include all infrastructure, or in terms of the bikes.
Yes, if I can just respond to that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Harry could probably give a much better answer than me. But what I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Harry, the £4,000 is for the hire of the bikes, but any infrastructure around that is going to be extra. But it then got a bit more complicated as you look further into it, didn't you? So do you want to go on from there?
I was under the impression that it was included in the price sort of the 4,000, but apparently it isn't.
I think that's the reason we're referring this to the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Further work needs to be done. That committee makes financial decisions. In principle, this committee, the proposal is to recommend further work on the basis that if there is a business case, then that will be. Councillor Scott.
This is to Councillor Odey. Bikes do come with a lot of maintenance, i.e. punctures and all sorts going wrong with them, gears going wrong and change breakage. Who will be paying for all the maintenance to upkeep them?
It's all part of the arrangement, Councillor Scott.
Oh, it is.
So, yeah, I take complete control over maintenance.
Councillor, I'll come back to you briefly if it's a separate comment.
Just a little bit of clarification. I understand that we're looking at kind of Boris bike type things, which are electric. Therefore, with people paying for these, as it says here, that they would be offset by the charges that they actually put in. So the costs would be offset.
Yes. Yes.
That's good.
Cost neutral. So it's going to F&GP. They will look at the pound shillings of pence.
But they're not electric.
Councillor Owen.
They're not electric.
Okay. Right, I do need to move on. So can we go to the vote? We've got a proposal on the table. It's been seconded. All those in favour? Let's refer to F&GP. Thank you very much. Okay, agenda item 9, dementia-friendly community. Councillors will be aware that this town council is a dementia-friendly town council. As such, the papers say that our town clerk has been fronting the running and coordination of that, in addition to a significant extra duty. So we are looking, the proposal is to select a town councillor from one of the 16 town councillors to take this on, not necessarily this evening, but in principle to chair and lead this very worthy cause, because the town are proud of that and there is a direct need. So I would like in principle to put that forward. So
second that. Yep.
Councillor Reid, would anybody who's got any questions or would like to comment, councillors? No? Then I would like to put that to the vote, please. All those in favour that we select a town councillor, ideally at the town council meeting in July, if not then September. Is that okay, town clerk? Thank you very much. Okay, finally, we come on. It's been a long evening. Thank you for your patience, members of the public. Another important item, which is roadworks and West Sussex County Council schedule. We could talk about this for a long time, but we haven't got the time because we have a 2-hour cut-off. Suffice to say that the town clerk has prepared a report. We are all acutely aware around this table, having liaised with our public, that our roads are not in good shape with potholes and conditions, and something needs to be done and an action plan. It has not been helped by the fact that Richard Speller, who is our long-term North Area Roads officer, left the employer in West Sussex, unfortunately. Very good chap, worked very closely with the town clerk. So we're lacking that, and we can't seem to get any details or a programme or commitment on resources for doing potholes. That's the long and short of it. In these papers there are the agreed schedule for road servicing. I'll come to you, Councillor DeBell, being a county councillor, new in the post. So we have a schedule of resurfacing, but we do not have details of when, where, how and how much potholes will be done, and whether they are temporarily filled, as they are at the moment, or permanently filled. So it's not an acceptable situation, and we do hope that there are improvements coming very soon. Councillor DeBell is our county councillor. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. No, don't worry. Can you hear me okay? We're right. Yeah. Thank you, guys. First of all, Mr. Speller has been replaced. There is a new guy in town, including me.
Have we got a start date for this person?
He's already started. He's in training at the moment. So
he's not been released in the area yet.
So the town clerk hasn't got details.
Okay, well, we can sort that out. Secondly, although it looks like it to all of us, because we live here, this is in no way the worst place in the country for potholes and road conditions. Indeed, as I go down to Chichester, right outside County Hall, the road around there is absolutely terrible. But I can tell you that we are winning. We are winning, and not only in East Grinstead, but throughout the country, there are gradually, steadily improvements being made. And yes, sometimes where it's a pot, it has to be temporarily filled before a proper replacement job can be done. But for instance, if you go down to the star of the traffic lights there, that particular part of East Grinstead Road is the best I've ever seen it.
Yeah, sorry.
And that's a different.
Sorry, County Council, they've just resurfaced it, John. Yeah. So any more points you'd like to make?
Not the bit that I've seen, it's before you get to the star.
No, okay.
Okay?
Okay, so we need the name of this new officer.
Can I finish?
Yes.
Thank you.
Briefly.
Okay. The roads are being caught up on and they are doing the job. The worst thing we've got at the moment is that everybody wants to lay a new fibre in the town.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have no powers at West Sussex. I mean, I'm brand new to the game, guys, and I'm still way down, working on a very steep climb. But the two things are, first of all, we are looking for more funding at West Sussex to actually do the job quicker. Otherwise, it means moving money out of elsewhere. Secondly, as I've said, although it looks bad where we are, it always will. Wherever we are in the country, it is getting better. And we are making gains in East Grinstead. And all I can tell you is we'll keep on doing that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bell. I appreciate you are a new kid on the block, but if you could ask and get answers to these questions to the town clerk, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, the chairman of West Sussex County Council about 5 weeks ago proudly boasted of this new super duper machine that automatically fills potholes and does a permanent repair. Now, Councillor Gibson, who's not here tonight, asked a question at the County Council meeting last Friday on highways matters. So another answer to a question, please, if you could find out is when this machine will be available in East Grinstead, because I'm sure we'd all like to see it in action.
Actually, he wasn't there.
Okay, well,
he was not at the meeting.
So we'd like to see this machine.
But the other thing I was going to say to you is that there are meetings taking place with the councils in order to work more closely with council. I can't say any more than that.
Yeah, thank you. That's second part of the officer's recommendation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Allowing me to speak in between you.
Any comments from councillors on potholes? I don't want to be here all night because we could be. No? So the second part of the town clerk's report, which is action report. The town clerk with the 3 towns working together have had a meeting with County Council highways officers to explore the possibility of 3-tier working with County Council, District Council and parishes particularly to take more responsibility for their own, pardon the pun, patches. We know our patch, we know our roads, where our potholes are. So the initial meeting has taken place. You've alluded to it, Councillor Bell, thank you. So the recommendation tonight is, you've seen the officer's recommendation at this time. This committee are asked to note the position and advise officers of any views as a potential partnership. Clearly, we have no details yet, so it's in principle. Any future details will be referred to finance and general purposes and then full council. So again, town leader is here, the chair of the FNGP. So this is in principle. Are we supportive as public services of working in what we call a 3-tiered arrangement to find solutions to the problems that we know? So that's the recommendation.
I second that.
Councillor Reeves is second. Has anybody got any questions on that? Because that supports what you just said, Councillor Duval. Okay, so all those in favour of that recommendation through the town clerk to FNGP? That's approved. So, okay, Tom. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. That's the end of the regular meeting, very comprehensive. Super to have so many members of the public here this evening. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, councillors. Again, thank you, town clerk and officers. We've got excellent reports. Really glad we got modality in. This is not the end of it. We will stay on top of this issue with modality. Papers will be issued in the next few days. Trust us, we will follow this up. So thank you for your patience, and I'll close this meeting at 8:47.